Hello, hi, welcome back to BnB Anime. I am Brad, and I'm here to, for one, wish you all a very happy new year. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and you kicked the year off right. And I'm here just to kind of give an overall general spoiler chicken hat warning for the entire episode. I don't believe we gave one throughout until at the very end, so just kind of wanted to pop in and say we give a lot of spoilers and talk about a lot of different big plot points from shows like ReZero and Jujutsu Kaisen that we covered this year. So just kind of keep that in mind and hope you enjoy the episode. Bye-bye!
Welcome back to the final BnB Anime episode of the year.
Actually, it's the first episode of the year. I don't know what your...
Oh, that's true.
This is going up January 2nd.
That is
so
true.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Yeah, so last episode was the final episode of the year. This is the last episode that we're recording this year.
Yeah, we're recording this on the 31st because, we got our shit together on time for once.
We did, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's also kind of the final episode of the year because it's our final wrap-up episode, and next episode is officially the, start of the new anime watching time.
Yeah, basically the awards nominations start all over again.
Yes, yeah, so that's what we're doing today, if you didn't catch it via the title. But Brad and I are going to be going through our own version of, are they called superlatives? Is that what they're called?
I mean, I just know them as the Crunchyroll Anime Awards that we may or may not have, just completely gypped off a lot of the categories and made them our own.
Yeah, well, they gave us a good guideline of things that obviously work well. So we have things like best anime, best animation, best OP, best ED, and then a couple of our own we've chucked in there as well, like best duo, best trio, best team. All of those kinds of stuff are going to be coming this episode. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Then all right, we're still dealing with extreme cold here in Alberta. We got 13 of the top 15 coldest places on Earth right now exist in the province of Alberta, so I think we're winning on that front.
I sent you that list the other day of top 15 or 20 coldest places in the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you good? Y'all must be a bunch of fucking popsicles up there.
Yeah, it's warmed up a little bit today, and it's supposed to continue warming up over the weekend, and then it's going to get cold again. So right now it is minus 28 degrees Celsius.
Is that a bean?
Sorry?
Is that a bean?
I don't know, is it?
I thought I heard a bean.
It is a bean. You heard it and I didn't through my headphones. Oh, hello, bean. Hello. What?
Everybody say hi to Bean in the comment section.
I wonder if it picked up on the mic. Well, I mean, on the recording.
I mean, it should, because I heard it audibly.
Go on, Tills. Go on. Yeah, I didn't hear that. My headphones are sound cancelling, so I didn't hear that.
Look at that. I caught it.
Yeah. Yeah, cold. It's been cold. It's minus 27 degrees, 28 degrees right now. But it feels like minus 34 with the wind chill.
Damn.
So I think that's an approximate 10-minute frostbite warning. I don't know. I'm kind of out of whack on calculating these things, but yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna make you jealous by the weather we've had here. Because it's been a proper 16.
Wow.
It doesn't feel like December. I'll put it to you that way. I should not be able to wear a t-shirt and shorts on the last day of December. That's bullshit.
Yeah, no, we haven't been outside for the past week.
I can't say I blame you. I wouldn't want to go outside for the past week either.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things when COVID first happened and we kind of all went into lockdown, I feel like most Albertan Canadians, or if you're in the territories, I feel like Alaskans probably feel like this as well. If you're in a place where it gets real cold, you kind of get used to hunkering down for the winter and only going out for necessities. And you kind of have formed your life around spending a good 2 or 3 months out of the year, the vast majority of the time at home. Or if you have to go anywhere, you have a list prepared of what you need because you don't want to be out and about while it's frickin' freezing.
Yeah. That'd be a chore.
Yeah. And I mean, our Goldens, they're both North American bred Goldens. They're not English Goldens. So they have been specifically bred differently to survive here in the winter as well. So they have real thick fur.
Well, that's at least handy, at least for this time of year anyway.
Yeah, Cedar refuses to come in. She sits out on the back deck. It's like -40, and she's just sitting there. Like, she's out of the way of the wind. She's sitting there, and we're like, you need to come in. You're going to get frostbite on your ears. And she's like, now I'm having the best time, and the sun's on her, and sun's quite warm. Like, when you're in the sun, that's quite warm.
Oh, yeah, especially whenever if you're away from the wind, then I could see the sun definitely being warm.
Mm-hmm. And so she's like having the best time, and then she gets mad at us when we don't go and sit out there with her. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not wearing a fur coat. Like, it's cold.
Oh.
One of the twins has COVID.
Oh shit! I hate to hear that.
Yeah,
get better soon, twin.
Yeah. She's doing better, and her boyfriend's got it as well. So the two of them are having a bit of a miserable New Year, I feel like. But yeah, as far as I know, they're both packing up. But she packed up before him, so I told her to tell him that he better woman up and heal quick. Because she healed first. So
I mean, she might as well just rub it in his face.
That's what I was like. You need to just rub it right in his face.
I managed to get on the girlfriend's nerve so much today that she told me to shut the fuck up. I was humored. I don't know why it humored me so much, but I was like, this is great. I love this.
I think it's a good moment where you can feel like, we've gotten to that point in our relationship where she can confidently tell me to shut the fuck up, and I know that it's not like, it's like fun and soft and squishy, but still shut the fuck up, you're pissing me off.
Yeah, and I mean, you of all people know, I know how to get under people's skin. That's what I do. Yeah. I'll just jab as much as I can to get told that. I do that for that kind of reaction. Honestly. So whenever she did that today, I just lost it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's genuinely ever. Why I consider you like my big brother, because my actual brother does that same shit to me. It's like, it's a sibling thing that you do with me when you do it. Like, to me, you're poking and poking and poking, so I'm really not surprised you do it to your girlfriend.
It's just, it'd be different if I just kind of poked once and left it alone, but no, I will do it as a bit and just run with it until I get the reaction I want, and then I'm good.
Horrible.
Oh, I love it. You know what's not horrible, though?
What?
Our massive list of things that we have to talk about today.
No, it's not horrible, so let's dive into it. Do we have any news? End of year news?
No, I didn't look.
Fair point.
I haven't looked in like a couple of weeks. I've been extremely lazy, but also I don't remember of anything just noteworthy coming out. Attack on Titan starts in 7 days from the time of this launching. News for us, but I finally finished My Hero Season 5.
Ooh. Yeah.
Holy fuck, it's good.
You sent me memes.
Yes, because it literally copied Dr. Stone, and I was cackling to myself. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen, because I swear it's the same voice actor, because it sounded just like dude going, rules are rules.
Rules are rules.
I lost it. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen, but I figured you would at least appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
But God, it's so good. I'm going to schedule all of the My Hero next year, so just be ready.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. Yeah, neither My Anime List nor Anime Planet have a coming soon anime section. That's so annoying, because that would just help us out so much.
I mean, I know 2022, and I feel like we said this at the end of 2020, talking about 2021, but 2022 is going to be fucking stacked with anime.
Oh, top upcoming anime. Ooh, yes. Yeah, I know. There's so much that's supposed to be coming. Real quick, I'm just going to send this link to you, just for us to have for our own personal reference.
I wait. Sick. Click. Yes, I trust links sent by my friend. So, yeah. The next season of Kaguya-sama, Attack on Titan, Rising of the Shield Hero, Chainsaw Man, which is something a lot of people are excited for. Data Live Season 4 for me, because, your boy loves a good harem anime.
There's a Yuri on Ice movie coming out.
Sick. Made in Abyss's next season is coming out. Mob Psycho's 3rd season. My Hero Academia Season 6. Bleach, the 7-year. Yeah, that's also it. It looks like an OVA or the next season of Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Trying to see if there's any. Oh, Vinland Saga Season 2. That's also becoming a thing. Oh, they're making an Isekai Quartet movie? Oh, sick. So, I don't know if I've talked to you about this or not, but Isekai Quartet is pretty much like the top isekai animes turned into chibis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just their adventures of having to go through school life. So you got Konosuba, ReZero, Overlord, and the Saga of Tanya the Evil just all coexisting and going through shenanigans.
Guess what's coming out?
What's coming out?
Free movie 5, The Final Stroke.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We are getting the final stroke.
Such an innuendo.
What? No, I totally didn't do that on purpose.
Oh, there's for a friend of ours, there's Tokyo Mew Mew New.
Is that coming out next year?
2022 to blank.
Oh, sick.
It's number 109 on the list. I'm like digging.
Oh, you're like super digging.
Yeah.
So Jujutsu Kaisen 0 will actually get that in North America and in Europe and all of that. I can pretty much 100% guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
The new Sword Art movie is coming out. Dragon Ball Super, Superhero, that's also coming out.
Slam Dunk movie? What?
You still haven't seen Slam Dunk?
No. Yeah, there's lots. There's a, what is it? Is there there's a Halloween movie of Detective Conan coming out. That's fun.
That sounds like a great time.
But yeah, okay, so lots of good stuff coming for 2022. We will be sure to keep you updated as the weeks progress. So if you want to know more about what's coming out and when stuff comes out, be sure to drop us a follow on the podcast for a sneaky plug there, because we talk about news pretty much every single week. Something is brought up. And if you are a fan of something that is coming out, or have news that we haven't spoken about on the podcast that you think would be an interesting topic of discussion, let us know in the DMs or in the comment section, depending on where you're listening to this, because we absolutely want to talk about topics that you guys are interested in as well. And yeah, let us know.
Yeah, we got super fun shit planned for next year. Already have Coming Can't Communicate on the list because I have to cover that.
Yeah.
And no one can stop me.
Yeah. So that kind of takes us to the end of the impromptu news section of just things that are going to be coming out. And let's dive into the awards. Do you want to start from the bottom up?
Yeah, because I feel like it's always best to end on, our anime of the year.
Yeah, so let's go with the beginning with Best Fantasy. And I'm going to let you take this away because this is kind of your area.
Oh, it is 100% my area. So, Best Fantasy of 2021 is going to be ReZero.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, it's kind of hard to separate the isekai and the fantasy genre from one for the other because they pretty much all intertwine in some shape, form, or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And ReZero just 100% takes the cake. This discussion actually took longer than our top 10 and bottom 10 of the year because it was a lot of Blue and I just not necessarily butting heads, but trying to figure out what truly fit each category.
Yeah.
And at this point, we all know ReZero is pretty much the love of my life whenever it comes to anime. And so, as much as I wanted it to take Anime of the Year, something else definitely deserved it more.
Yeah, we tried to not have too many of the same animes in the same slots. And again, the ones that we are referring to here are the animes that we have covered throughout the year, not animes that have released throughout the year. So,
although some of them do fit that mold, though, like ReZero Season 2 came out in the spring of this year. Yeah, Demon Slayer, both arcs came out this year.
Mm-hmm. So but these are just the animes that we have covered on the podcast this year. That's what we're ranking. ReZero, I feel like, is kind of the epitome of fantasy in anime right now that I think of because of the way that it completely encapsulated a new world. I absolutely think that things like Ghibli movies or the one that we haven't covered that we always say that we're going to cover, the
Ancient Magus Bride?
Yes, that's the one. And those things I think are a fantastic example of wonderful fantasy animes. I just feel like out of the animes that we covered this year, ReZero had the most whole world and the most like lore. The lore I feel like is something that you could have written like you know, like when you're playing D&D and you have like books of the lore, and it's like there are rules, there are structures to how this is structured, or like Lord of the Rings and how people dive into it, and it's like how there is a specific system to the way this is set up. It's really thought through, and I feel like ReZero is another one of those world creations that is so structured and specific that it is a world in itself. It could be an entire universe because it is set up so well, if you know what I mean.
And it's so easy to get lost in, too. Like, as far as pure overall fantasy goes, it's a show that I feel like I can go back and watch over and over again and still get lost and immersed in the world and just figuring out new things. And season 2 expanded on that so much and answered a lot of questions while also leaving things very open-ended for whenever the eventual third season comes out, because we have so much more to go and cover in the story. And for me, it without a doubt takes the best fantasy that we've covered this year. So,
yes.
Next one, I'm going to hand off to you.
Yeah, so this is best team, and this was such a tough category because obviously teams encompass like any sports anime pretty much out there, and we covered a fair few sports animes this year. But the one that we both ended up agreeing on was an anime that is very like emotionally connected to both Brad and I, so there definitely is a level of bias there. But Chihaya Furu is what we came up with for best team. It was really tough to decide whether or not Chihaya should go under best team or best trio. But we ended up putting it under best team because you can't discount the others in that group of 5 when they were playing. So good. Such a good anime. If you haven't seen it, do recommend.
Oh, 100%. You will never care about a card game more until you watch this, and you will just get absolutely sucked in by the story, by the characters, especially by the animation. Those eyes are just peak animation perfection. It's absolutely wonderful. The OP is a lot of fun, and the team that they build around is just wonderful. So highly, highly, highly recommend.
Yes, absolutely. Which leads us to the next category, which Brad is going to take away, which I've just mentioned. That's best trio.
Yeah, so Best Trio belongs to another anime that is both near and dear to Blue and I, just for different reasons. Because every good list needs a harem anime, and this harem anime just so happens to be Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
Yes.
Because Belle, Ant, and Lily. It's a great time.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic trio. You grow to care about all of the characters so much. You get to watch them grow together, build together, and they are just a solid pack and just 100% deserve the trio spot on the list.
100%. They are they're just like, it's one of those, they're a dynamic that I don't find to be overwhelming or like pungent. If a dynamic can be pungent, but I feel like they are yeah, I mean, it's a horror anime, you're gonna have your horror elements. It was done very well. I like it. It's fun, it's enjoyable, it's a good laugh, and who doesn't love a good it's got that fantasy element on top of it as well. Like,
Exactly.
we love goddesses being extra.
Yeah, it's just a really good overall kind of spin on history and fantasy, and it builds in a fantastic way with your hilarious plot elements.
100%, yeah.
And then best duo, I'm a hand off to Blue because its topic is just 100% fit for her.
Yeah, so this I think is a reason why it wasn't so difficult for me to choose Chihaya for best team. And that is because the best duo, and I think most people here would agree with me, although it was really tough. Like, we had the show in mind. We knew it was going to be Haikyuu pretty much as soon as best duo came up as an option here. It was just choosing which duo in Haikyuu that we wanted to go with. And we ended up going for the classic, the show opening, the staple duo of Hinata and Kageyama. Because I mean, I have them on my wall. They're great. I love them.
I mean, who couldn't love them? It's a dynamic that pretty much put the wind under our sails this year, and it just gave us so much content, so much enjoyment. And watching those two grow from being, the biggest enemies to the best of friends, and just seeing the whole tournament arc play out just still gives me goosebumps just how all of that played out. So it 100% deserves a lot of spots on a lot of lists, and best duo definitely belongs to Hinata and Kageyama.
Yes, absolutely. Which takes us to best romantic couple.
Just Subaru and Amelia. There are a lot of options that could have went here. It's just, and if there hadn't been, spoiler alert, the kiss at the end of season 2, then I feel like they probably wouldn't have made the list. And I don't want to be biased, but as far as like overall romance goes and just complete story building around it, Subaru and Amelia take the cake this year, because that kiss is just what we have been waiting for 2 fucking seasons.
Yeah, we did also discuss Rascal Does Not Dream of Dreaming Girl, because we covered that this year, and Howl's Moving Castle as well. But I think we both kind of decided that ReZero should be the anime to kind of take it. There was another one I thought that we were discussing. A Silent Voice, but we decided that wasn't 100% romantic, so we let that go.
Yeah, and A Silent Voice, because I've talked about this with a lot of people, and A Silent Voice, I think, is perfect in its aspect of they didn't push the romance side of it. It's like they hinted at it for a second, with Shoko actually admitting to Shoya that she loved him or liked him, depending on how the translation came across and whatever you watched it on. But the fact that it didn't go that route is what makes it such a top tier film in my eyes, is because it's not a story about relationship building. It's a story about redemption, and it's not, him trying to pursue a relationship with her. It's him learning how to love himself again.
Yeah. And so for best romantic couple, they don't ever become couple, So, and I agree. I think that is one of the sweetest aspects of the film, is because they're both very young characters, even when they're aged up, and it kind of keeps that innocence with them. I feel like if they had made it more romantic, it would have aged them up too much. If that makes sense. I don't know. That's kind of the way it's framed in my mind, anyways.
And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I don't remember what got best relationship last year. I don't know if we even had that as a category last year, but if it were last year, then Bunny Girl Senpai would have taken it hands down.
I'm fairly certain it was Bunny Girl Senpai. That's where my brain was. And yeah, so the conversation again between Howl and Sophie for Howl's Moving Castle was mainly to do with the fact that it wasn't as prominent as a feature. Like, their romance wasn't, we didn't feel like it was as prominent as a feature as Subaru and Amelia's was throughout ReZero, if that makes sense.
Because it never gets established until the very end. Like, you can kind of see, like, the feelings are there, but it's never established until, like, the last 2 minutes of the film. At that point, I'm like, fuck it, it's out of the running.
Oh, yeah. So that was kind of our argument for that, but definitely big shout-outs to all of those.
Yeah. Now, for best voice actress, I'm going to hand it over to my favorite voice actress.
Yeah, so we actually had 2 winners for this category. There were a couple categories where we couldn't completely agree, and I think in this case it was I hadn't seen the second option. So Brad chose Asuna from Sword Art Progressive, who was done by, I'm sorry if I don't get your names pronounced correctly, but Haruka Tomatsu and Cherami Lee.
Or Lei.
Lee. Depending on if you're watching the English or Japanese dub. And I chose Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle, who was done by Baisho Chayako, I'm going to say. I hope I'm saying this correctly. I apologize if I'm not. But yeah, for me, the reason why I chose Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle was because I found it absolutely fascinating that the one voice actress was able to manipulate her voice so much for the age and constantly changing age range of Sophie. And I specifically chose the Japanese voice actress because we actually, in doing our research, found out that the English dub had 2 different voice actors doing both old and young Sophie, which is why I think I need to give credit to Baisho for doing both. I think that's amazing.
And I couldn't pass up the absolute just beautiful storytelling that came across from the voice acting in both the sub and dub of SAO Progressive, and
Mhm.
ultimately carrying Asuna's entry arc into the SAO franchise. And I just couldn't let it go unnoticed. And perhaps next year, once the film's out, Blue and I will be able to revisit the discussion and get her take
Mhm.
on it. So for me, that's kind of why Asuna's voice actresses kind of took the place
Mhm.
for the tie as far as the category goes. And also, I didn't watch the sub of House Moving Castle, so I didn't feel right saying yay nor nay on
Mhm.
that nomination either.
Yeah. Yeah. So two different opinions on that one, but we have one common shared opinion for the next one, which is best voice actor.
And best voice actor goes to Satoshi Hino, who played Rengoku in Demon Slayer. Because why doesn't that man deserve it? If you don't think he deserves it, then you can fight me. Because
Mm.
I will go to the ends of the earth for this man that made me bawl my eyes out in theaters and again watching it. Oh,
Yeah,
it's so good.
it's so good, and he's the Umai has become a running joke between Brad and I now, and the versatility of his voice acting throughout this character, I think, was really shown in both the film and the series. Getting to see him in action sequences. And then in casual circumstances, getting to see him be emotional with his mom and with the little girl in the first episode of the series, getting to see him opposite other characters that are having very emotive performances. I think consistently across the board in every area, there wasn't a moment where I ever was consciously thinking about his voice acting, which I feel like is the biggest compliment to a voice actor, is if you just completely blend in with the character, and he really did.
And as someone who has read the manga, I kind of know and have an understanding about his personality. And it's almost an art to take a character that's so over the top and just make them just as truly likable as can possibly be. And I think
Mm-hmm.
pretty much everyone fell in love with Rengoku because whenever you first see him in season one, he's just very overbearing for what
Yeah.
little bit of a time you see him. And then here, it's just the voice acting is so on point. It just makes you fall in love with the character. And
Yes.
so major, major, major props.
Yeah.
And then our next category is something that Blue and I both tied over again because we
Yeah.
could not, for the life of us, make a decision between the two. So for best soundtrack, take it away.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that made this difficult is because they are so different soundtracks, but both of them fit their shows perfectly. We have A Silent Voice and Laid Back Camp taking best soundtrack. For me, Laid Back Camp was just so peaceful, and the soundtrack behind it, just like those shots of just like, or it's like beautiful landscapes, and then just the jazz in the background, so good. And A Silent Voice as well. It just the music that perfectly encapsulates the emotions that you're feeling when with the characters on screen. It's so good.
And I think the qualifications for something to actually get best soundtrack is it has to add to what you're watching, not
Mm-hmm.
detract, not just blend in, but actually add to the overall experience. And I think both animes kind of truly and just encapsulated that whole thing. In Laid Back Camp, I noticed it more. Like I
Yeah.
noticed the background music, but at the same time, you're kind of meant to because a lot of it is just scenery shots and it's just setting the mood and the scene for the entire thing. Whereas A Silent Voice, the music is made to make you feel things
Mm-hmm.
along with what's going on screen. And so the fact that music can just entirely wrap you up in what's going on, they both deserve it, hands down.
100% agreed. Yeah. Yeah. And then that leads us to best comedy.
And best comedy, just how could Keijo not take it?
Honestly.
It's just plot, the whole plot, and nothing but the plot. But also, that show had no fucking right to be as good as it was. I legitimately thought it was just going to be a joke thing that we were covering for episode 69.
Mm.
And then I got sucked in.
Yep.
Like, vacuum butt cannon for the win.
And there were so many references hidden in that show, so many blatant call-outs to other animes. It was so funny.
It truly was a brilliant time. It just,
Yeah.
without a doubt, just couldn't pass up it taking the spot for best comedy.
Yeah, 100%. It's big dumb, but I recommend that you watch it. Just if you watch it, and you live with people that you don't want that kind of like intimate relationship with, maybe put some headphones on, shut your bedroom door or whatever, because yeah, it's one of those shows. Like I feel like shows like this, harems, other things like that, you have to be kind of careful who's around you when you watch them.
Yeah, this is not one of those shows I would show the girlfriend. Girlfriend, I know you listen to these, so you have my sincerest apologies. However, this one's not allowed. You're too young in your anime watching to watch this.
See, now I would say if you want to dive into the deep end, Miss Girlfriend, jump in headfirst with this. It's funny. You probably won't get a lot of the references because there are references to other things, but generally, it's just funny. There are butt jokes, there are boob jokes, there are. It's taking the piss out of sports, which, as a sports fan, I appreciate. It's
Yeah,
funny.
it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And continuing on with things that are absolutely brilliant, our best OPs and EDs of 2021.
Yeah, so let's start with the OPs, I guess, as they come first. And again, we have they just did music well, apparently. Laid Back Camp for best OP, but also slotted in there as well. We have ReZero.
Because I couldn't let the OP for ReZero slide because, like we've talked about prior, like with best soundtrack and other things that actually suit the anime that they are made for. Laid Back Camps just suited Laid Back Camp to a T, and
100%.
ReZero, they will choose OPs that have meanings that fit what's going on in the show.
Yeah,
And it's just a brilliant use of storytelling, but also not just using the main OP, but they add in insert OPs done by the voice actresses that are in the show that just bring so much more meaning to what's going on. So I couldn't let it slide without adding it in to what was
100%.
going
And
on.
yeah, and the Laid Back Camp OP was stuck in my head for days.
It's
Not
still
just when
stuck in
we,
my head. Like I'll just
honestly,
get the jingle just going through my head every now and then. I'm like, fuck.
exactly. It's so damn catchy. Yeah, we had to listen to back to a bunch of OPs when we were deciding what was gonna who was gonna win this award, and yeah, it's been stuck in my head ever since. It's been stuck. It was stuck in my head when I first watched the show for to cover it, and it's stuck in my head now, and it's probably gonna get stuck in my head again whenever I hear it.
Yep, it's still stuck in my head
Yeah,
now. And then as far as EDs go, how could it not go to Demon Slayer?
yeah,
Because this is another one of those that Blue and I kind of went back and forth on because Laid Back Camp was also another big contender for it.
mm,
However, just for the overall meaning of what both EDs brought to the game, just Lisa, just that's all I can say. That woman is just perfection whenever it comes to singing and what she brought to the table with Demon Slayer and especially Homura for the film. Just it just brings out all the emotion. Like
hmm,
it will after you're already crying for the film, that song comes on as the credits roll and you cry more. Just
yeah.
the passion and enthusiasm that she brings to what she does. Just it's brilliant. Just 100% brilliant.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I feel like the ED was the best representation of how of like of the work for Demon Slayer over the OP.
Oh, 100%, at
Yeah,
least as far as this is concerned, because Gurenge will always be timeless
yeah,
for being the first one. Although the new OP for Demon Slayer is fucking fantastic. Oh, it's so good.
yeah,
Oh, I can't wait for February because that's going to be like our second or third episode in February. I've already got it planned out. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good
yes.
time. Our romance month is going to get cut a little short. And by cut a little bit short, I mean I'm just going to extend the last couple of episodes out. So
Yeah.
sorry, not sorry, but Demon Slayer is getting covered as soon as it's done because holy fuck, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited to dive into Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is amazing. Love it every time I watch it. So great. Okay, where are we at? We're at best fight scene.
And best fight scene just has to go to Jujutsu Kaisen, because how could it not? And
Honestly.
it's hard to just pick just one, because a lot of the stuff was absolutely fantastic and will get you hyped up. But the fight with the tree monster, for all the memes and everything that it brought, but also seeing Gojo bring out the beautiful blue or the purple and red, whatever the fuck it is, to make purple. I don't care. It was brilliant. The animation on those fight scenes are top notch. It is done beautifully and brilliantly. I cannot speak highly enough about the fight scenes that Jujutsu Kaisen brought to us.
Yeah, and this was a really tough category this year because we had Demon Slayer in there, we had My Hero in there, we had Mob Psycho in there. There was a lot of 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 really, really good animes that had
You could
fantastic.
technically count Haikyuu season 3 as a fight scene.
Honestly, honestly, you could like yeah, there's a lot that you could count in there as fight scenes, and it was a tough category to decide, but at the end, Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel like just kind of stuck in our brains more.
I feel like at the end of the day, it wasn't even that hard of a category to choose from. There's a lot of really good stuff, but there was only one great
Mm,
at the end of the day.
mhm.
Because although everything else we covered is absolutely fantastic, just pure, just beauty and just top notch, at least for me, I feel like it had to go to Jujutsu Kaisen without question.
Yeah, no, I'm very confident with Jujutsu Kaisen as well, which takes us to our next character, best to our next character, to our next. I was reading the thing to our next award, our next. What was I going to say? Our next chapter,
Our
our
next
next
category for best
category.
character
That's the word.
design. All right, take it away.
Character design. Yeah, so we ended up going with My Hero Academia for best character design. I feel like to me the strongest reason why I went with this is because whenever I see a My Hero character, I can tell immediately that they are from My Hero. I feel like they have a very, very distinct character design. The studio has a very distinct character design, and My Hero, even in that, I feel like has very distinct characters. Not only that, we're talking costuming for what they're wearing, school uniforms, all this kind of stuff. I mean, we obviously have seen that in previous seasons, but every time I see it, I'm just like, wow, this is really cool. I do have to say, Jujutsu Kaisen gets a shout out for character design. Demon Slayer gets a shout out for character design. There's so many that did really, really good, very interesting looking characters. But My Hero, I feel like, just has such a vast amount of characters, and all of them are so distinct.
Yeah, it's definitely the one that kind of stood out the most. Very similar to Violet Evergarden, which took our award for best character design last year, just because everything is so distinct to
Mm,
that. The art style is so distinct to
yeah.
that. Studio Bones does a fantastic job of just making everything it does distinct to it.
Hmm.
So there's no way that it couldn't take best character design, at least as far as the overall presentation goes. And speaking of overall presentation, our next category is best animation. And I'm going to let you take this away because this is all you.
Yeah, well, I had to go with Laid Back Camp, and I know I said that we tried not to go with the same anime for too many categories, but Laid Back Camp, the scenic imagery throughout this anime is like that's my happy place, you know? Stunning.
Oh, 100% stunning. Everything about it is just so unique and wonderful. Mount Fuji is beautiful and brilliant. All of the just backgrounds and foregrounds and everything that the show did just pretty much encompasses what we talked about for the other like best overall encompassing categories, in that it does nothing but add to it,
Mm,
if not overwhelm. Like it makes
yeah.
itself a focal point, and not in a bad way.
No, well, I feel like the animation is absolutely necessary to this show because even more so than other shows because there isn't much that happens in the plot. The plot is not dramatic or even even all that engaging, you know. It's a bunch of girls that go camping and they're just learning about how to camp. And that's the entire storyline. And yes, there are jokes in there that make it funny, and yes, their friendship is adorable and the food looks amazing, all this kind of stuff. But it's at the end of the day, you're watching the show because everything is so stunningly beautiful, and these characters are endearing enough to keep you focused.
Oh, 100%. Like it truly is the focal point of an already good show. So without a doubt, it has to take best animation.
Which takes us to our next category, Best Director.
And for best director, we gave it to Susumu Mitsunaka for doing the first 3 seasons or first 65 episodes of Haikyuu.
Yes.
And just how could it not? The animation style is brilliant. For those that don't know, the director has final say so on pretty much everything. And no matter what studio is doing it, the director has pretty much hearsay on the art style, the direction, everything. The director decides whether or not it sticks to the manga. He or she just pretty much influences everything that has to do with it. And just from an overall investment and storytelling perspective, Haikyuu and just Susumu Mitsunaka just had to get recognition for just the fantastic job in the story building and world building that they did with the first 3 seasons of Haikyuu.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that they did a fantastic job of launching a volleyball anime and kind of seeing how it would do, testing the waters with it. Because even if animes do really well, even if shows do, like, even if they're really well in their manga, you still don't know how they're going to translate to the anime market. You can kind of have a decent idea, but I don't think they expected the wave of passion and love that Haikyuu was going to get, especially from an international audience. And they took that and they ran with it and they thrived with it. And these first three seasons were handled so well. Like the second season, I feel like second seasons are so difficult if the first season just does really well, because you don't want to let anybody down. And they absolutely didn't in this case. Haikyuu is still one of my favorite shows of all time.
And continuing on with Haikyuu, because we're basic bitches here, and although we said we weren't going to stick with the same stuff for a lot of this, we very much did. So for best boy, we decided to go with all of Haikyuu because all of those boys are best boys. We totally didn't cop out on anything. We had some other fantastic people in the running, like
Yes.
Tanjiro and fucking I can't, my brain fried. I had so many Deku because we did My Hero seasons 1 and 2
Yeah.
this year. Like we had a lot of different people in the running, but as far as just wholesome overall enjoyment for best boys, we just had to go with the entirety of Haikyuu.
Yeah, I mean, how could you pick one from Haikyuu? Like, how could you?
And a lot of the shows we covered this year, how could you pick just one?
Yeah.
So
We somehow managed it with Best Girl.
I mean, was there really any other choice? I mean, we had some other decent contenders, but at the end of the day, was there really any other choice for best girl?
I feel like we went with the best option.
I 100% agree as well. So for best girl, we went with Philo from Rising of the Shield Hero, because how could we not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Philo was the breath of fresh air that the storytelling of that show needed. She was brilliant. She was the comedic relief that we all needed. Just a giant fluffy bird that could turn into a little girl and then turn back into a giant fluffy bird.
Yeah, and I think it's very difficult for a character like that to be consistently funny and to not get irritating. Philo, as a character that did a fantastic job of staying just funny throughout it. There wasn't a time where I'm like, oh, okay, Philo bit, get through this, and then it gets back to the story. Again, it's this whole ending of like, what does it add to the show? And she was absolutely a fantastic benefit to the show.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And then going on to our next two categories of best protagonist and antagonist, it's kind of a similar situation of who is the prime person for the show to be built around from both a, good and evil standpoint of everything that happened. And so for best antagonist, as being the complete opposite of Philo, we went with Bitch.
Yeah, I feel like looking back, looking, when I was sitting there and I was going through these categories and it was best antagonist, looking back on every single show, the one who made me the most pissed off, the most aggravated, the most upset, the most just like angry, just like uncomfortable, angry, not happy, which a good villain should do, was Bitch.
Just 100%. And for those that don't know who Bitch is, that is her legal name as of present in the Rising of the Shield Hero story. She is the daughter of the queen. Her actual name is irrelevant because her actual name now is Bitch.
Yeah, and her adventurer's name is Slut as well, which we don't appreciate the slut shaming, but I'm fine with it because of who she is. That's horrible. I shouldn't say that, but she is such a disgusting character, a disgusting human being. The things that she accused our main character of, the things that she manipulated people into believing, the amount of people she tried to just up and kill, and the amount of people that did die in the crossfire of her, of what she did. Sorry if these are spoilers. It's not really a spoiler because you kind of figure it out in the first episode, but like, if you haven't watched the first episode, it's a spoiler, I guess.
I threw on a spoiler alert earlier, so it's fine.
It's fine.
I think.
Did we? I don't remember. If we didn't,
I did.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, apologies. If not, editor, throw something in here.
Throw in a spoiler. Yeah. Yeah, the most aggravating character.
100%. And then on the complete opposite of the spectrum, again, for best protagonist, it had to go to Nazi Subaru. Because, again, just as far as overall growth and character building for everything that we covered this year, how could it not go to the man that got absolutely psychologically broken down, became dependent upon the powers that he had, thinking that he could reset and try over and over again, and then just decide, you know what? Fuck this power that I've been given. Fuck everything. I'm going to do it all in one try, forsake my greatest weapon, and just use what I have and just do it.
Yeah, I feel like out of every main character that we have seen, Natsuki Subaru is the one who has had the most trauma to overcome, which kind of gives him a leg up on the competition in a way, because of course he has character growth if he has been dealt every single shit brick in the house. There were some other really good contenders for protagonists. I mean, Hinata from Haikyuu is we got Deku, we've got so many, but I feel like Subaru was just dealt the most shit.
He really was. We watched a man get psychologically destroyed to where he went insane.
Yeah.
But then also just seeing his overall growth in just the season that we covered this year, like not taking into account what we covered last year, but just what we covered this year, the amount of growth that we saw and that he overcome, just without a doubt, just firmly cemented him in my place for best protagonist.
Yeah, which then takes us to our last category, the best anime of the year. I don't think anybody is going to be shocked about this. It is the same as our best anime of the year last week of our top 10. It is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Again, how could it not be?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this one is kind of, cliche, because this was also Crunchyroll's anime of the year for last year. But I mean, how could it not be? It set the world on fire in a manner similar to Demon Slayer, which is I think what took our anime of the year last year.
Yeah, it's when you think about the numbers and the impact that it had on the anime community, it's very difficult to think of anything else in this position. And then when you also consider the impact that it had on our podcast, just of the two of us, of our own personal opinions, and how we were going on and on about it for days because it was so stinking good. And even now, like, it's so, like, you can picture it just so well in your mind. And I feel like that is a huge aspect as to whether or not it's a good anime. Like, can you imagine it? Is it there? Is it present in your thoughts? And Jujutsu Kaisen is incredibly present in mine.
It is 100% still there. The animation style, the characters, the world, the OPs and EDs, like they all just stick with you and have continued to stick with both Blue and I, in that we use it as a measuring stick for other shonen anime now,
Mm.
similar to what we do with, say, like Food Wars and Tanaka-kun. Like, it is a measuring stick of things that have come and will come in the future. It's brilliant. It's amazing. We can highly recommend it. It's worth every bit of watch time that you can give it. So check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, 100%. It's really really stinking good, and I'm excited to see what comes of it in the future.
Well, I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero is already taking the world by storm, at least in
Yes.
Japan. So we have a lot of good things to come in
Yeah.
the future. And once things kind of settle down again after the first of the year, I'm sure it'll come to theaters. And once COVID gets back under control and theaters open back up again, everybody's going to rush to the theaters to go see it, because why wouldn't they?
Yeah. So I guess masks on, get your boosters, all that jazz. Stay safe because if you catch COVID, you can't go see Jujutsu Kaisen Zero in theaters, and that sucks.
Exactly. If anything is going to come out of this, keep yourself clean, COVID free, because you can't go watch anime in theaters and enjoy that atmosphere if you got the COVIDs.
Yep, 100%. So that is our awards. That's our awards tier for this year, and yeah, next week we're going to be starting fresh with our brand new anime. Well, brand new anime to us. It's not a brand new anime, but it's new to us.
Well, brand new
Um,
anime for Blue. Anyway, I've already seen
you've already
the
seen.
first season of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
Yeah. So another isekai, starting the year off with an isekai, and a lot of people's top three.
Yeah, that, ReZero, and Overlord are pretty much the overarching big three of the isekai new generation genre.
Mm.
And for good reason. I'll have Overlord scheduled for some point next year as well, just to kind of give you a general idea of just both. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime and Overlord are prime examples of the OP isekai or protagonist done right,
Hmm.
but they both kind of have different twists on it. In that Overlord, our protagonist, is actually quote unquote the antagonist of the world,
Hmm.
and dude starts off extremely OP, whereas That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, it's like a slow build, but it's not, if that makes sense. But
Hmm.
they're both brilliant. I look forward to seeing your thoughts on it. And also let us know your thoughts on what your big three isekai or big three are. Also, what's your thoughts on our list of things that we've put out here for you today? Because I realized we said we weren't going to do a lot of copies, but we kind of did, because
We
we
kind of
basic
did.
bitches and we have no shame, because this is our
Well, yeah.
world. We do what we want here.
Yeah, we have our favorites and we stick to them. But yeah, I'm assuming that you guys watch different animes than we did throughout the year. So are there any in there that you would slot in from the animes that you've seen? And yeah, let us know what your top anime of the year is. Let us know what your best comedy of the year is, because we're always trying to find good comedies. Freaking love them. And yeah, yeah, let us know all of the things. Also, animes that you want us to cover in the new year. We've kind of put together a temporary list right now, but if you give us ideas, we absolutely will look at rearranging the list and trying to slot them in. We love hearing from you guys. We love hearing from animes that you want us to cover, and it sometimes introduces animes to us that aren't even on our radar. So yeah, let us know.
Yeah. And as far as getting in touch with us outside of, normal means, you have Blue on Instagram and Twitter at Blue Lavender STM. The podcast is on Instagram and Twitter as well at BnB Anime. I am on Instagram at Brad Carter Gaming. You can also find myself on Twitch at Brad Carter Gaming. What else we got?
Yes. We got YouTube. On YouTube at BnB Anime, where podcast is on. Did we say podcast is on Instagram and Twitter at BnB Anime?
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, YouTube, hit us up in those comment section if you're on there. Be aware that if you are listening on YouTube, though, you are listening 1 week behind when the episode is released on whichever listening platform you listen to the podcast on, Apple Podcast, Spotify, etc. If you want to know what platforms that we release the podcast on, you can find us on www.bnbanime.com, where we have all of our episodes already to download right off of the website if you feel like doing that, or we have links to your favorite listening platform. We also have behind the scenes stuff on there, like pictures of Brad and I if you feel like putting a face to the name. We have artwork stuff, friends of the podcast. We also have some brand new fun things coming in the new year, so look at the website if you want to catch those. We'll be sure to let you know when the website has been updated, because yes, we are going to be putting our dropped rates forgot the word, the drop rates on the website. We're going to be putting our ratings of animes on the website, and we'll probably be posting our anime awards and rankings on the website for this past year as well. So yeah, that's all going to be on there.
That everything?
That's everything.
So, thank you all so much for listening, Blue, and I greatly appreciate it. Check us out next week for That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. But until then, we'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye!
Bye!